Hey everybody, I wanted to show you my setup for my Epiplatus annulatus, or as you might know them commonly, the clown killie, the banded panchax, or I think some people call them rocket killifish as well. Now, this did used to be the tank that I had my endlers in, and I've moved on from them since. They're in another setup. There are still a few stragglers in here that I need to get out, but I'm not really concerned because it's not like they're going to breed with the killies or anything. I've been waiting for these guys for a while. This is actually the fish that was originally intended for this tank. This was the whole reason I set up this tank along with some shrimp. Of course, I just fed them, so they decided all to hide. So I'm going to sit back for a minute and talk to you about this tank and get everything in focus and see if anybody comes back out to visit. I have a breeding group of 5 in here. I think it's a 3 females v 2 males setup, if I'm correct. And there are 2 male endlers and I believe 2 female endlers left in this tank of the tiger variety. I'll be taking them out soon, but like I said, it's not something that I'm rushing to do. A little bit about this tank. I've got the box filter over in the corner there with some ceramic rings in the bottom, and then it's mostly just polyfill, to filter out all the waste and things at the top. I rinse that polyfill out probably once every 2 weeks or so. I do get a heavy food consumption in this tank because I have a lot of ram's horn snails. I have an absolute ton of baby shrimp in this tank as well. There is a sponge filter that's running back there where the other soup can lid or the soup container lid is, and I keep those to basically keep the bubbles from breaking the surface too much and causing a lot of evaporation. Anyhow, you can see one of my males swimming along the front here. I'm sorry about it being a bit dark, but that's how killies like it. I can't blind them in this tank. I just try to keep a lot of cover in here. But this guy's swimming around right now looking for any foods that might have been kicked up by some of the other fish. Sometimes the planaria worms will get kicked out of the gravel and the killies will just go wild and grab at them. The rest of them, I'm assuming, if not at the surface, are... Okay, there's one over there as well. They're usually in the moss, and they're in here probably staking out some territory for spawning, which is fine with me. That's why I've built up the amount of moss in here that I have. This ram's horn population is going to be slowing down soon because I have an order for a lot of them, and that's cool because that means I can make some space, and it's not like they won't just breed again and I'll have another 100 in a matter of a month or so. I've got a good mixture in there too. I think I've got some of the pinkish colored ones. I have 1 or 2 ivories. I have a few of the leopards and some blues as well. So, and they're a really cool snail. Like if you're not really into snails, but you're looking for something that doesn't eat your plants in your tank and stuff, ram's horns are really good for that. They're heavy algae eaters, so they are competing in here with the shrimp, which is why I have to supplement this tank quite a bit. And by that, I use algae wafers. I'll feed them some of the sinking pellets and stuff, and they will swarm it when I drop those in. And you can see down here, there's a pile of them as well. You can see a baby shrimp right there over by the moss ball, although it's pretty dark. Again, it's the way that I set this tank up specifically for the killies. This was never supposed to be a tank for the endlers, but it ended up being one because I had such a difficult time getting the clown killies, and when I finally got them, the moss had grown up the way I wanted it to, the tank was staged the way I wanted it to, so hey, it was time to switch. Anyhow, that's it. It's a pretty easy setup. Make sure you have Java moss if you want to get them to spawn. My water here is hard. I have well water, and they seem to really like that as well. I don't use any Purigen in my filters. I don't use any, chlorine dissolvers because I don't have any chlorine and I don't have any fluoride in my water either. But I guess I'm just lucky that way. So do your research if you're going to get these guys because they can be picky. They don't like fast moving water, hence why I have the box filter and the sponge filter a bit broken at the top there with the soup lids in order for the water to not be flowing all over the surface and causing a lot of agitation. These guys like to be at the top and hunting. You could drop fruit flies in there. They love those. You can get those from your local pet shop. Usually they're the flightless variety that they'll sell for, I think, frogs and things like that. You can start cultures of them, which is cool, but they will accept everything else, pellets, flake food, etc., as long as it's small enough. So yeah, that is my clown killie setup. It's simple. I run this at 78 degrees. I have the light on most of the day because I love algae in this tank, especially for the shrimp and the snails. And the killies don't seem to mind it as long as there's a lot of dark spaces that they can get away to when they don't feel like being out in the bright light. So if you're looking to get a fish in a nano tank that's pretty rad, you could probably do 2 to 3 of these in a 5-gallon if it was heavily planted and get away with it no problem. I have 5 in a 10 and there's more than enough space for them. So I'm looking forward to my first hatch of these guys and seeing how it goes, and I'll keep you all posted. Anyhow, take care everyone.